The gender pay gap is a term that has circulated plenty over the past few decades and is defined as the average difference between the remuneration for men and women who are working. Generally, across the world, women are found to have lower household earnings than men, which is also the case in the Falklands. Whilst the situation here is far better than other economically developed countries, I still wondered if there was a way that our small yet progressive community could make steps to bridge this gap.
It's not something that you hear people saying, oh, well, he gets paid that much and I only get paid this much for doing the same work. It's not something that I myself have experienced. It's certainly not something that you hear on a regular basis. But that is particularly about genders doing the same type of job and being paid differently. Where they are in an organisation or what their achievement might be in the workplace, that's something else. I think that has definitely changed. I mean, that was definitely much more male orientated in the past when you were looking at sort of like management and sort of upper echelons of organisations. To be frank, I don't think that, say, 20 years ago they would have employed me even with the same level of skill and knowledge and experience, etc., that I had when they did give me the job. I don't think 20 years ago they would have given it to me because of my gender.
I think in the Falklands we've been working to try to make sure that there are kind of gender equal opportunities across the country. We also benefit from overemployment, but because of kind of reasons of childcare in particular falling disproportionately upon women, there are things such as career breaks and loss of earnings that can perpetuate gender wage gaps. But due to kind of core family needs and, like I say, care needs and disproportionate burden that this places upon women, it's also true that a lot more women are more likely to take things such as part-time work, which gives them more flexibility to balance families as well. And while it's certainly nothing wrong with that and it's essential to be done, there is work to be done kind of unpicking, I'd say, what would be seen as traditional gender roles to be able to give women and men flexible opportunities to be able to look after their family and also make sure that they're getting the most out of their careers.
Women still are the primary child carers. It is women who are more likely to take career breaks and more likely to forego personal development in order to sort of like take care of children and home. I didn't choose to do that. I didn't have any maternity leave. I wasn't working anywhere that offered sort of like maternity leave and maternity pay. I certainly wouldn't want that for any of my employees now. I think it's terrible actually. But in terms of sort of like developing a career, I made the decision that I was going to work.
At the time when I went on maternity leave, there was an option for career progression, and I would say that as a result of having that career break, I don't think I was treated very fairly, no.
Whilst government have implemented a community development scheme to encourage upskilling, I wondered what more could be done to further encourage gender equality in the workplace and what employers could be doing to support more women to pursue career progression.
To support families, for instance, government is looking at has been looking at improving its maternity and paternity provision to make it more equal, which hopefully in time will lead to more uptake to be able to give both parents equal opportunity to be able to stay at home to look after children, because caring for children is incredibly important, especially when they're newborns. More could be done, I'd say, in the future around legislating more broadly from a national perspective around maternity and paternity rights. There's opportunities for more sympathetic views of flexible working arrangements to be able to support families to be able to balance care needs and family needs at home, as well as pursuing the best kind of career opportunities. I think the more respected you feel at work, the more likely you are to pursue career development as well. So there's soft things and there's also policies and legislation I think that we can work on.
I think training is important. It's career development. If you look around the fishing sector, at least if I do, although it is still kind of male orientated, you do see women moving up in organisations, and I think that's a sign of the times. I think that, you know, managers are wanting to encourage women and develop excellence in their workforce, so you see that, and I think that's what we have to carry on doing. So I think the difference between, say, now and 20 years ago, we're not necessarily going to have in mind a particular gender for a particular role. We're just going to you know, take the best candidate. It is essential for women who want to sort of like get forward in their career that they have the support at home, you know, from their partners, and that if they've got children, they do need to have that support. They can't take on, you know, the entire responsibility of the domestic front and also be hugely successful in the career. But that has changed a lot, hasn't it? I mean, it's vastly different to what it used to be. We have men and women in the office who have children, so it's ensuring that they, you know, don't have to feel anxious about taking time with sick children, or you know, making allowances for parents in that respect is really important. So generally it's making sure that treatment is equal across the board, and yeah, I live by that.
The census shows that the gender pay gap is narrowing, having closed by 22% since 2016. Yet support for gender equality in the workplace, which usually pertains to childcare support and flexibility, must be a priority for employers if they wish to create equal opportunities for women and men to succeed in their careers.